If you're looking for some sneaky draft day quarterbacks, this video's for you. Let's get it. Alright guys, it's time to get a little sneaky. If you guys are wanting to wait really late for a quarterback, here's a couple quarterbacks that you could be possibly taking in your draft to kind of give you a little bit of leeway and hopefully set yourself away from the pack. If you like to stack up your running backs and stack up your wide receivers, maybe even take a tight end a little bit later, that way you can take your quarterback way at the end of the draft, I may have some diamonds in the rough for you that may be able to help you. It's all if you want to be sneaky, but let's get into it. Now, the first quarterback we're going to talk about is Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is a quarterback that was highly touted coming out of high school and coming out of college. These guys are talking about Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck type of pedigree. Now, he didn't really hold up because of maybe Urban Meyer, but he's getting his old friend running back Travis Etienne back. They just signed somebody in Christian Kirk. They have Marvin Jones as well. They have a couple weapons on the outside. They even have Evan Ingram at tight end. They gave Lawrence some weapons to go out there and to make some plays. Trevor Lawrence is somebody you can get at the very end of your draft. No one's really thinking very highly of him, but he has the pedigree and the opportunity to become an elite fantasy quarterback. Maybe even, we may be able to push QB1, but let's just say even if he's a solid QB2 for your team, high-end QB2, maybe a top 20 quarterback, I think he's going to pay off his ADP, especially if you're kind of, stacking the big-time running backs and the big-time receivers, and you can pair him up in the back end with Trevor Lawrence, maybe even stack him up with a Marvin Jones or a Christian Kirk. You've got yourself a little mini stack right there, and you possibly can go pretty far in your season, but he's definitely a sneaky quarterback that you could end up with. Now, another sneaky quarterback, and please don't kill the messenger here, but I'm telling you guys, Daniel Jones could possibly be a sneaky pick for you guys. Let's think about it for a second. Daniel Jones is possibly in his very last season as a quarterback for the Giants. If he can't pick it up, they're going to want to draft a quarterback next year if Daniel Jones isn't the answer. Daniel Jones has showed little flashes in the pan here or there. He's just not able to put it all together. Could you blame it on, maybe he had an injured Odell Beckham, so he didn't have much receivers. His receiving core last year was completely demolished. Whether it was Kenny Golladay, Kadarius Toney, or Sterling Shepard, all of them got hurt. Then you had Saquon Barkley on top of that getting hurt as well, and his offensive line wasn't that good. The defense was okay, kind of middle of the pack, but I think the defense got a little bit better. Saquon Barkley is completely healthy. Kenny Golladay wants to prove that he could still be a number one wide receiver. They drafted another wide receiver, Wando Robinson, who says supposedly he's locked into the slot role. You've got Kadarius Toney, which I believe is a huge diamond in the rough. People are sleeping on this guy. He can make some plays. Daniel Jones has weapons. The receiving core is completely loaded. He has the opportunity to produce for your fantasy team. He's just very scary. Every time you talk about drafting him, you kind of want to throw up a little bit. And I get it, don't worry. But if we're going to talk about sneaky plays, we need to be able to see and go outside of the box to grab these quarterbacks that nobody else really wants. Probably rightfully so, but have the opportunity to make something happen and possibly be a huge bonus factor on your team. So that's kind of where I'm going with that. Now I'm going to go over to another quarterback that people say, whoa, he might be a little too old, little too rusty. I don't think so. We're going to talk about Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan comes over from the Falcons, and I'm telling you, there was nothing on the Falcons. They didn't have receivers. They didn't have running backs. They didn't have an offensive line. They didn't have a defense. I don't know. It was a terrible situation for Matt Ryan. Everybody thinking, oh, he's really washed up. He didn't have an opportunity to do anything. Now he goes from the Falcons all the way over to the Colts. Huge upgrade at offensive line, huge upgrade at running back. He's got an upgrade at wide receiver with Michael Pittman. I believe he could turn Michael Pittman into the old-time Roddy Whites and Julio Joneses. I mean, Michael Pittman was showing out with Carson Wentz at quarterback. There's no reason why he can't show it with Matt Ryan. Then he also has Jonathan Taylor, so he has to keep the defense honest because Jonathan Taylor can break off a run at any time. I think Matt Ryan is in the perfect opportunity to succeed. He has the pedigree to be able to take his team very far. They were already very good. They're playing in a terrible division. They can easily win their division and maybe make a push into the playoffs. We'll see how far they can go. But Matt Ryan's somebody you could take again at the end of your draft. Not a lot of people are really thinking about him. If you're able to grab Michael Pittman early in the draft and then follow it off with Matt Ryan, you got a nice little combo, and I believe can take you super far in your fantasy season. Now, the last guy I'm going to talk about here, not a lot of people think about this guy as a fantasy kind of quarterback, but I want to talk about Davis Mills. Davis Mills, as a rookie, actually did quite well. He didn't light the league on fire, but he did well. He was learning. He was kind of thrown in there and said, hey, rookie, let's see what you got. With nothing. He had nothing. But now he's got, he still doesn't have a running game. Maybe Marlon Mack or Rex Burkhead. Not sure what's going to happen with that situation. They're both kind of co-starters. At wide receiver, they have Brandon Cooks, who they just re-signed back. And Brandon Cooks is a nice 1,000-yard receiver. And he's got Brevin Jordan also at the tight end spot. That's going to help him out as well. So he has players that he can throw the ball to. Maybe not all pro type of players, but they're very, very serviceable players. And Brandon Cook and Brevin Jordan. These guys, they're going to be down in a negative game script almost the entire game for the entire season. He's going to have plenty of opportunity to have garbage time, and they're going to be put up a fantasy points. It doesn't matter what the end score is in fantasy football. You love garbage time, right? Garbage time, they're going to be playing prevent defense. They're going to let him have a lot of under stuff. He's going to be able to throw for a lot of yards next season. And if Davis Mills is able to take a step forward, you never know. You could draft Davis Mills. No one's going to want to take him, and you could have yourself a nice fantasy quarterback. If you're able to grab maybe a Brandon Cooks or Brevin Jordan and pair him up with Davis Mills, you got a nice little combo there that, I don't know, swing for the fences. You might be able to catch fire. You never know. As always, thank you for watching the video. If you hadn't hit that subscribe button, hit that subscribe button. We're putting out all types of information leading you up to your fantasy draft throughout your season to help you dominate and ultimately win the championship. I can't wait to see you guys on the next video. We'll see you guys next time.